Let's talk about Grassini and VR46. The only two top Ducatis this round was the factory. Everybody else were either injured or just down 10th or below or something like that. They can't be happy with this, right? At Ducati, Ducati can't be happy that, hey, listen, we're used to having 6 bikes in the top 10. What's going on?
I mean, it can change once in a while. It's racing. They can't be greedy. But no, it sucks to see Alex Marquez go down, and some decisions that he makes sometimes. I don't know if he's going back to the original Alex now, because this past few weekends haven't been that great. I don't know if this is like the Alex that we know, but hopefully he gets back on his high to continue with the championship push. We know that he's not going to get it, but VR46, I think they were looking good, but there's some struggles. I didn't really see much other struggles with the VR46.
Got you. Frankie's injured, so he's out. But Digio he crashed out of the main race, but I think he qualified 18th or something like that. So not really a good look. Cheetah, do you think that as a satellite team, they're doing too much? Because last year Pramac won it. They feel like they can do it. Granted, VR46 they got an injured rider, but still Digio should have done better than where he finished or didn't finish.
Yeah, I mean, Digio definitely, but I mean, just going back to Alex for a second, I wanted to mention him because I feel like he's gotten a taste of the podium juice. And now that he's not able to see Marquez in sight, he's getting a little antsy and making kind of decisions he shouldn't be making, right? The decision to go under Mir that took him and Mir out, that's a decision he didn't need to make. I think the pace just wasn't there for him and Aldeguer this weekend. So I don't know, man. I'm not feeling the maturity out of Alex yet, and that's yet to come. So
yeah. I agree. And I think we talked about it last week. He rides different with his brother than he rides with everybody else. He took Pecco out last year. And Pecco had to be gracious and take back the words he said, where I don't think, Marc Marquez has taken back a word yet. And I think that, Alex, I'm the youngest, so I don't, I could have always called on my older siblings, I suppose, but I lived not to do that and do anything like that. But I think, Alex sometimes is, moving with his brother's clout.
Yeah. Yeah, he wants to be up there. He just wants to. I mean, he's already got the taste of it, right? I mean, first few races, I mean, he was the man. We were like, oh, besides, if Mark wasn't here, he was winning. That's what I said. And then but like now he's not there in this one race and he starts getting a little antsy. I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't a thing for the whole team. Aldeguer wasn't looking too fancy either. And he's usually up there in the podiums, at least in sprints. So I don't know. It was just an interesting thing. So hopefully he can keep that hand healthy for the next few races, Alex, that is.
Right. Hey, what are your thoughts, Lewis? I mean, it could also have been the grip and the 24 bikes, because last year Bezecchi and them couldn't figure out, that was a 23 bike last year. They could have ran into the similar problems that the factory was running into, because when Marquez was in the press conference, he said all the Ducatis were having issues. It could have been something there. But what are your thoughts, Lewis, on VR46, Grassini?
I think the Frankie injury might be a little bit telling, because if you look throughout the last few rounds, Frankie always does well in the practices, and Digi is always in the lower half of the practices. And then when it comes race time, Digi kind of does a little bit better, and maybe he's using Frankie's data. And this weekend he didn't have Frankie's data, because if you think about it, he had Frankie's data last weekend.
Right.
And Frankie did well, he did well. And now this weekend, Frankie's not there, and all of a sudden he's struggling mightily because he doesn't have that second guy collecting data for him. So I'm wondering if that might be one part of it on the VR46 side, but I'm hoping that, by the next round after this short break, Frankie will be back, and, we'll be at another track that benefits the Ducatis, and we'll see how they do. And on the side of Alex Marquez and the Grassini team, again, Alex made a bad decision, but also, he's still riding with an injured hand. So we don't know how that's affecting him. Maybe he's trying to compensate a little too much. Maybe he's doing a little too much, considering that he does have an injured hand, and that does affect how you're able to ride, because you can only do so much with the handlebar when one of your hands, you don't have that firm grip, or you might be getting a little numb. You don't know what's happening there, but he definitely did make a bad decision. And I feel really bad for the new Oliveira, which is Johan Mir, because once again, fucking somebody takes him out, bro. Yeah. This dude needs to get whatever blessing that Oliveira had and get done in his garage now, because now he's the new Oliveira. He's getting taken out round after round of no fault of his own, not doing anything outside of the norm, just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and somebody miscalculates and uses him as a berm. And that sucks for him, because, you know, it's not like he was riding badly. Like, he was doing fairly well, all things considered, compared to the other Hondas. And once again, man, he finds himself in the kitty litter. And I think you saw that in the frustrations, because you saw that he really went after Alex and kind of really gave him a tongue lashing, because he was just like, yo, man, you know, dude, we're way back here, and you're taking me out from behind. You're not even taking me out from the inside where I can see your tire hit me. You're literally taking me out from behind. Like, there was no way you're going to make that pass. Anybody that knows anything about apexes and getting out of corners, what the hell were you doing, bro? Like, you're not. There's nothing to see here. Like, you're doing it wrong. This is not how you race. And it's true. You see that sometimes. Sometimes, you know, there are incidents like Alex Marquez and Pecco at Aragon. Mm-hmm. And I consider that a 50-50, because Alex thought he had the line, and Pecco kind of came in, and they kind of just met at the apex, and two bikes can't take the same place at the same time. Something has to give. And in that case, both of them gave, you know. And again, that might be a little bit Alex being overly aggressive, and Pecco thinking, oh, he's going to let me go because I'm Pecco, and leaning it in there.
He was also kind of in front of him.
If he was in front of him, why would he hit him? Why would he hit him in the leg if he was in front of him?
He passed him, and then, you know.
But if you come in, he didn't want to give up the start. And the tire's there, and I hit your leg.
Listen,
I'm on your side, Louis. I'm on your side.
Half a dozen in the other.
When somebody passes you, sometimes you come off the break a little bit later to catch back up. That's all I'm just saying. Sometimes.
I'm just saying that sometimes Pecco thinks that Pecco's supposed to get a pass because he's Pecco.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always happen. I'm not here to let Pecco be Pecco. I'm here to try to win my race, to try to get as good as I can. Pecco's, and if you happen to lean in and I happen to be there and my tire hits you in the leg, you might be in front of me, but it's only because you coming into my line.
Come on, last year he said, or the year before, he said he didn't want team order. You know, he wants riders to ride. So I don't, you know.
No, he didn't.
Of course he did.
He's the same guy that said, I want satellite bikes to go slower. Ducati shouldn't give all the bikes, all the teams the same bike, because satellite bikes should be slower.
So they got Marc Marquez.
No, but then he was saying that because Martin was on his ass the entire time.
Right.
And he was like, why does a satellite team have a bike that's as good as mine? Like, he's a satellite team. He should have the shitty parts, so that way it's easier for me to win. But you guys are giving Martin a bike just as good as my bike, and he's on a satellite. Look, now I got to work. Like, come on, man. You can't. The dudes, they call him Pecco Princess for a reason, bro.
He sounds like a loser.
Yeah, bro. He wants the easiest path to victory. That's why he's getting his ass handed to him this year.
I didn't see any of that, but okay.
Google Pecco wants slower satellite bikes, and you'll find it.
You know, it could have been penned by Scott Reddick.
No. It was in an interview. It's on MotoGP.com.
I do remember that.
Say again.
I'm gonna send you the link.
I remember that too. Okay. I don't think
that is unfortunate if he's saying it. I mean, it is. You know, the racing industry is a little bit different, and you know, we see it in Formula One and stuff like that, and you know, the number one guy has always gotten favors, right? Or the number one rider has always gotten favors on teams, and Ducati did something out of the norm by putting 8 bikes on the grid, by sharing data the way they're sharing it and stuff like that. So, which he profited from. So, which is the part that I wouldn't understand why he would say that, because he did profit from having all that information.
It would be fine if Jorge was saying it back last year when he was on the not factory team. But
there's the link to the interview where Pecco Bagnaia argues that slower satellite bikes will make for safer riding. Bitch ass shit.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty
Safer
much.
riding because nobody can catch me. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Safer riding. Huh?
He wants to see a bigger factory margin.
But was
between factory and
he
satellite.
specifically talking about Martin or
else?
What other satellite bike was close to him? The Honda, the Castro satellite.
They had
No, but that
225
wouldn't even
bikes.
matter because it's not a Ducati, right?
Yeah, I thought they had 224 bikes last year. They had like 424 bikes.
No, they had like 18 Ducatis at one point.
Right. But like last year there was 424 and 423s. Like VR46 had one and Grassini had one, right?
Yep. Yeah, Martin had the newer bike.
Oh, Martin and VR46. Sorry.
And VR46 had one rider on the newer bike.
So he could have been talking about Digio.
Nah, I doubt it.
Rexy, man, you going forever buying his stock, man.
I'm not buying his stock. I'm just passing, making sure the wealth is
he can buy the stock. I'm just trying to bring the value down to a realistic point.
Like if somebody said that, you know what I'm saying? Like I guess he's talking about Vinales as well in that, but if somebody said that, I get it from the other side. If he wasn't on the factory team, he's like, oh, the factory rider should not have that much of an advantage over us. I get that a little bit. Even that's a little whiny. But to say that from the other
more
side,
to point to the factory saying like,
here's the direct quote. A rider behind you that doesn't have the potential is looking to pass 6 riders in 1 lap. And it doesn't work like this because we are on the limit and is looking for a maximum goal. If you look, the incidents are fairly the first part. So you can read this, but he literally he's literally saying there's no longer a 6 or 7 second gap, 10th gap between satellite bikes and factory bikes. And then if that was there, it would make it easier.
safer.
Was that when a couple of riders was using their bikes as bowling balls?
Well,
it is MotoGP every weekend. Somebody's using their bike as a bowling ball.
That's gonna happen, and that's up to race direction to give the points, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it was Frankie or whoever, but yeah, I think that was after somebody was trying to pass like 6 bikes. Yeah. So
I mean, a few years back, there was a gap in time. Then a lot of aerodynamics came into play, and now it's more fair game. So for everybody, so most bikes have the same thing. There was a time where just Ducati had the rear, right? They had the vice soup. Suzuki did it. Halfway through the season, Suzuki got it. And then they were developing. So like they all get in faster with all the aerodynamics. So everyone has a similar time now. So that goal, is just complaining too much. I can see if he was on a satellite, but if you're on the factory, you're still on the best bike at the end of the day. You figure out the way to win because you're supposed to be the one that helped develop it the most and continue this brand going forward for the next few years,
Well, again, I hear that, but Marquez, helped undevelop that Honda. But
Rex, I just want to point out 2 little quotes from this article, by the way. He says, meanwhile, the others were further behind because they didn't have the potential, but they also didn't have the same technical level. Right. So what he's saying is that he's just better.
No, technical level up the bike, not
potential as well. But then why would he say the bike should be slower then?
Well, I can't be technical. I can't believe he's saying the other riders are not as skilled.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's literally saying they don't have the talent.
And then the next thing is referring to the level of competition is extreme.
I come with receipts every week, Rexy.
That's what you expect.
And this was in an interview?
This was in an interview.
You got to read this, man.
Come on, man. I come with receipts.
I'm gonna have to read it.
My mind is like a steel trap.
Bring this up because that's why I kind of I thought about it.
I'll read it and get back. But even still, I mean, it is what it is.
You say something in a press conference, I'm gonna bring that shit up in like 5 years. Remember back when you said in a press conference?
Yeah. Hopefully, I'm being consistent, right? So
you are. You are very consistent.
So there you go. And I'll say this before we move on. He also gets more flack, and other riders do yap off too. But he's getting a lot of flack for being the only person to try to take down Marquez, and a lot of other riders are kind of.
After this weekend, though, that last press conference he did, he sounds like a guy that's finally realized like he doesn't have it, because he pretty much said that right now his target is to try to keep with Alex and see if they can secure second place. Because right now he's 6 races behind Mark. It would take 6 DNFs and him winning 6 in a row to even come close to getting back on par with Mark. Yeah. And with the amount of rounds left, I don't see Mark pitching it down the road in 6 consecutive races. Not talking sprints, but in like full races where the points are the biggest. I don't see that happening. I mean, at this pace, Mark can win with 5 rounds left almost.
Something like that.
Which is crazy.